Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. We're back on the Tiers of the Cruisers map. I think this is a ranked battle. Yeah, must be. Not enough. I mean, it's the North American server. It's not unusual to see teams of this size in a random battle on the North American server, depending on the time of day that you start playing, but I'm pretty sure this is actually a ranked battle. And yes, I realise I'm probably already too late. Most of you have already told me in the comments. I am aware that the badge at the bottom of the loading screen tells you what kind of battle it is, but I don't know what they mean. Anyway, so Conrad QD, that name is familiar. He's the captain of the Zhao today. Have we seen him before? If we have, welcome back. If we haven't, welcome. As you can see, he's a little bit AFK at the start of this battle, which is kind of worrying. He's in the Zhao, of course, the Tier 10 Japanese heavy cruiser, an excellent ship. For the longest time as the game was developed further, because the Zhao has basically been in the game from the very beginning, I believe. Well, hang on, back up, before I get corrected again in the comments. The original Japanese Tier 10 heavy cruiser was not called the Zhao. I believe it was called the Senjin or something like that. And honestly, I mean, it was 10 years ago. I'm fairly sure that they didn't actually replace it with the Zhao. And this did happen very, very early on in the game's development. I think they just renamed it. I have no idea why. And I've always liked this ship. I realised that for the very longest time, the community were desperately begging Wargaming to give it a buff. As new nations and new lines of ships were introduced, the community always said that the Zhao had been power crept, and I can kind of see why. At the same time, I thought it was fine. It did eventually get a buff a couple of years ago. It didn't do a huge amount of, didn't make a huge amount of difference. I always thought the Zhao was fine. It always was and still is the ultimate kiting heavy cruiser. It's remarkably stealthy. It is very, very fast. It has 2 quad torpedo launchers on each side, and unlike most Japanese heavy cruisers, they actually have very good firing angles, and not just to the rear, which is common of most Japanese cruisers, which is what makes them very, very good at kiting, because, well, if you're chasing after a Zhao, let's say in a battleship, 1, you're never going to catch it because it's going to be faster than you in almost all circumstances, and 2, expect to be eating torpedoes at regular intervals. Lots of torpedoes. Also expect to be getting set on fire by the 12 8-inch guns, and then watching the Zhao disappear because of its excellent stealth before you can successfully land any kind of return shot. The Zhao has always been very, very good at that. And Conrad's going to be doing none of that whatsoever in today's battle. Today's battle is going to feature some textbook positioning and excellent cat and mouse gameplay between virtually everybody in this battle, with a couple of exceptions. The first exception being that poor old incomparable. Now, he does not know that Conrad is here, and Conrad's torpedoes are ready. And unlike most Japanese cruisers, his forward firing angles are not completely terrible. The incomparable just popped his hydro, so now, if he's paying attention, and you have to assume he is, he does know that Conrad is here. But, well, I think this is going to be worth it. Popping the hydro was the first and last smart thing the incomparable did. Pushing this far forward this early in a fight with this much torpedo threat. Oh well. The incomparable had 1 chance at taking Conrad out. It didn't work. Of course, it's a battle cruiser, a British battle cruiser, so it gets its own torpedoes. But Conrad handily dodged those, and he's once again undetected. Now, while all of that was going on, you'll notice that both teams have taken 1 cap circle. The friendly Laffy, the matchmaking. 2 battleships, 2 cruisers, 2 destroyers on each team. The friendly Laffy, one of the team's 2 destroyers, took the cap circle at Charlie. Obviously, the enemy team took the cap circle at Bravo, and look at the positioning of the team's Des Moines heavy cruisers. Both teams, actually, both have correctly identified that the pivotal point of contest on this map is going to be the cap circle and Alpha. Both of them are in positions to radar the cap circle and deter any enemy destroyers, and that's basically exactly what's happening. The friendly Shimakaze saw the Des Moines tucked in behind the island and immediately aborted. The friendly Des Moines did the same thing and chased off the enemy Yu Yang, who was trying to flip the cap. The enemy Des Moines just got his radar up again. That's his radar. Just as the friendly Shimakaze was trying to probe that cap circle again, the Shimakaze is trying to keep the island between itself and the enemy Des Moines. The friendly Des Moines is going in with its own radar up. Honestly, I really can't fault the play of either of the two Des Moines heavy cruisers in this battle, both the friendly one and the enemy. Both of them knew exactly where to be, what to do, and when to do it. And unfortunately for the enemy San Martin, he just got spotted when Conrad... Oof, yeah, that's going to leave a mark. And he had the armor piercing loaded. Conrad taking some shots there from the enemy Los Andes in the direction of... well, he's just to the south, actually. Second salvo away. Somebody else just hit him. And then the San Martin gets spanked to within an inch of its life. But doesn't quite die. Can Conrad finish him off before he manages to disengage and go undetected? There's the friendly Georgia, who... Okay. Remember, there are, of course, 2 destroyers per team in this battle. We've seen the Yu Yang being chased away from the cap circle at Alpha by the friendly Des Moines. The enemy team also have a Shimakaze, and it looks like the Georgia has eaten all of the torpedoes. Spotting plane up, because now he knows the Shimakaze's here, and he's just gotten detected. And the Georgia's gone down. The enemy San Martin managed to get away. He's on extremely low health, but he's not dead. Conrad has a pretty good chance because he has just seen the Shimakaze launch its torpedoes, so there's an opportunity here to get another drive-by torpedo kill, this time on the Los Andes. The Des Moines has finished the San Martin. Okay, that's good. Let's put the team ahead again. Now, how close can he get to the Los Andes before the Los Andes... and he's spotted. That must be the Shimakaze. That's worrying. Now, the Shimakaze does have a fairly long torpedo reload. It's around 2 minutes. I haven't been counting, have you? But Conrad's kind of committed. Ah, screw it. Chicks dig scars and glory lasts forever, so here he goes. Right, the Los Andes has fired everything it had. Conrad took it on the chin, he took some damage, but it didn't sink him. He wisely chooses to use the torpedoes on the port side, because he knows the Shimakaze is out there. And this way, he can get the torpedoes away, which he could have done from the starboard side, but he keeps the Los Andes between himself and any Shimakaze torpedoes by turning right rather than turning left. Which is fortunate, because he has just run himself aground right in front of the Shimakaze, who is reloading his torpedoes. However, while I cannot fault the decision to turn this way, and he has in fact run himself aground, if the Shimakaze had been where I thought it was at the point where he committed to this manoeuvre, he would have had the Los Andes wreck, shielding him from any Shimakaze torpedoes. But the Shimakaze is not where I thought it was. It's back up there. It just flipped the cap at Charlie. Which means, well, this is actually even better, because the chances of a Shimakaze torpedo hitting him at this angle is basically 0. Paying attention to the detected icon. Yep, there we go. We now know he's got the island between himself and the Shimakaze, so we know more or less exactly where that Shimakaze is. He's more or less exactly due north, so he has 0 chance of torpedoing Conrad. Note that the cap circle at Alpha just flipped. That is going to be the Yu Yang. So we know exactly where the Yu Yang is. Conrad's about to find out exactly where the Shimakaze is, because he knows he's within spotting range, because he was spotted on the other side of the island. So now he's just waiting for Sixth Sense to go off, and when it does, there it is. The Shimakaze is here. He doesn't know how far away he is, but he knows he has to be more than 5.6 kilometers away, otherwise he would be able to see the Shimakaze if it was closer than that. And it has to be less than 9.9 kilometers, because that's his concealment range. And if he was more than that, then the Shimakaze wouldn't be able to see him. He also knows it's definitely been more than 2 minutes since the Shimakaze last torpedoed somebody, so there goes the hydro. And he's going to duck in between the 2 islands here, which will serve 2 purposes. Note the enemy team are in control of all 3 of the caps. They have also sunk the Laffy, who has been complaining in chat for the last 3 minutes about how the rest of the team sucks. More on that in a moment. For now, again, he's paying attention to the detected indicator. And now, again, now the Shimakaze can't see him, which is ideal, because he's not only torpedo safe, he's got this beautiful big chunk of island in the way, he's flipping that cap circle back. And the friendly Shimakaze is flipping the cap at Bravo. The friendly Libertad would be well advised to get the hell away from the cap circle at Alpha, because he is basically caught between two destroyers. He's got some good island cover, but he's got a Yu-Yang to his northwest. He's definitely got a Shimakaze to his northeast, and he's a big fat juicy battleship. And if he wasn't detected by the destroyers, and he probably is, there's a Des Moines within radar range, although the Des Moines has been playing very well. Ooh, looks like the enemy Shimakaze did try with at least one of his torpedo launchers to catch Conrad unawares. But the enemy Des Moines over there, I nearly said friendly. Friendly Des Moines has been sunk. If the enemy Des Moines over there still has any charges of radar left, he's been playing pretty well so far. He's probably not going to be wasting it. Spotting a battleship. There goes. There, yep. The Shimakaze hedged his bets. One torpedo launcher for Conrad, two for the Libertad. But, well, the Libertad was well angled. None of those hit. And again, the direction that the torpedoes came from, as well as paying attention to when the Sixth Sense icon pops off, will give Conrad an extremely good idea, there it is, of where that Shimakaze is. It's possible. I mean, you can see him pinging the map. It's possible that was the Yu-Yang spotting him. But based on when the Sixth Sense icon popped, that's more than likely the Shimakaze. Now his torpedoes are reloading, and the Shimakaze doesn't get a torpedo reload booster. So Conrad's almost certainly safe for now, but why take chances? He's got some shots at the Des Moines. This will of course get him spotted the second he fires, but well, what's the worst that can happen? The Des Moines targeting the Libertad. Oh, there's the high caliber. Only 182,000 damage. I mean, that's not nothing, but remember, high caliber is based on the total percentage of the enemy team's health, and oh, that's not good. And this is ranked, so there are only 6 ships per side. Oh, this could be. Can he maybe get up enough speed and then swing the ass around? Those are Yu-Yang torpedoes. They're going to... Oh, that was lucky. More Shimakaze torpedoes just went by. Okay, so the Shimakaze has reloaded. It's expended at least 1 torpedo launcher. Oh, this is tense. He's got his spotter plane up. Friendly Shimmer just spotted the Yu-Yang, but no sign of that enemy Shimakaze. And we know he might have 2 torpedo launchers ready. But somebody just started flipping this cap circle. And then somebody spots him. Which means that enemy Shimakaze is right in front of Conrad and inside the cap circle. There go his torpedoes. Now that Shimakaze has played cat and mouse so well. There we go. He's more or less what I expected to happen. He keeps getting spotted and then unspotted. That Shimakaze was paying attention. Conrad's looking over to the left there just to make sure he isn't going to get spotted by the Yu-Yang. That Shimakaze is right on the other side of that island. He was paying attention. He saw Conrad pop up. He didn't want to evacuate the cap circle. He's right on the other side of this island. There he is. Textbook. He does, of course, have smoke. But Conrad still has hydro for the next 30 seconds. It doesn't have the range of German hydro, but it's good enough if he can get close enough. And he's reasonably confident that the Shimakaze's torpedoes are on cooldown. And while the Zhao isn't as fast as a Shimakaze, with a top speed of 36 knots, it's not slow either. So if he can respot the Shimmer, and he has, it's because the Shimmer isn't running away when it could. And if the Shimmer's not running away when it could, that's because its torpedoes are either about to or have just reloaded. Now would be a good time to Diddy Mao the hell out of here. Because your hydro just expired. So torpedoes away. He did fire, of course, because why wouldn't you? But of course, thanks to the heavy cruiser smoke firing penalty, the Shimmer could still see him. And then, thanks to the friendly Shimakaze, spotting him as he evacuated the smoke, there's the kill. And not before time because, and you know what? The instincts were good because look what's coming behind him. Yep, there they are. He was absolutely right to not push the smoke because that would have gotten him killed. Such good instincts. Meanwhile, let's talk about the friendly Laffy, who died, I don't know, about 5 minutes ago, and hasn't stopped complaining about it since. If you've been paying attention to chat, and let's face it, you probably haven't because what's been going on screen has been riveting. But if you have been paying attention to chat, he was complaining that he died because nobody supported him. Now he's technically correct. Nobody did support him for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, I'm pretty sure that nobody on the team thought anybody in a destroyer would be dumb enough to charge down a Des Moines. You know, the American heavy cruiser with 9 8-inch guns that fire at most once every 5 seconds. Yeah. And also, he chose to engage a Des Moines that was on the far side of an island from everybody else on his team. So yes, nobody supported him, and I see this in World of Tanks all the time as well, as in World of Warships. Your minimap works the same as everybody else's. If you can see that you're sailing into a position where it is impossible for your team to support you, you do not get to cry about a lack of support. Okay? Okay. Now, and this really did throw me off guard, because I was looking at the score at the top of the screen thinking, wow, the enemy team are only 36 points away from winning. But no, for once, the scores are actually correct. I'm so used to World of Warships replays being bugged, I don't even know what an accurate scoreboard looks like anymore. But the friendly Shimakaze has spoken up for the first time in this match, saying, no, we've got this with one cap circle. The loudmouth in the Laffy is saying, well, I'm not so sure about this. And then the Shimakaze player, and I mean the Des Moines, because they were about to lose, he had no option but to try to sink something. But the Shimakaze player responds by saying, no, I've got a timer for it. We have won this battle. They're so far ahead on points, a single cap will be enough. They're now only 12 points away. Oh, there's some Yu Yang torpedoes. These could be bad. Oh, there it is. Des Moines dead. That pushes them over 1,000. And, yeah. Although not before the Laffy says, well then why the hell don't you speak up? To the Shimakaze. The Shimakaze who just spoke up and told everybody that they were going to win on points with one cap. The Laffy wanted to know why the Shimakaze who just spoke up didn't speak up. I could say a lot of things here, but I'm going to choose the generous option and simply say that I'm pretty sure that Laffy captain doesn't have a very firm grasp on the concept of causality. But all that aside, that was some textbook cat and mouse gameplay there. Particularly between Conrad and that enemy Shimakaze, with Conrad in particular given a masterclass in how to guess is the wrong word because there was no guesswork involved whatsoever, but how to use the limited information from something as simple as the 6th sense icon to guesstimate the position and range of an unspotted enemy destroyer. Great work, Conrad. Beautiful display of tactics. Using the Zhao in a role that it was never really intended to fulfill. And I hope you all enjoyed watching him and maybe learned something from it. Because that is it for today. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.